Kirsten McGregor, and I'm an economic recovery and resilience consultant. And this is being streamed live to LinkedIn and a few other platforms. So, uh, I had the opportunity to be on a review panel, a midterm review panel for my alma mater graduate program. They were working on a studio on sea level rise in St. Thomas. So, for those of you who know me, know I've done a lot of work in the Virgin Islands. And I was so impressed with how the students embraced the planning process, how they looked in a direction that they didn't think would happen as a sea level rise studio. It turned into more of a resilience plan because they saw that all the moving parts impact one another. So when you start looking at resilience and long-term planning, you need to start looking at energy, you need to look at workforce, you need to look at hazard mitigation, all the different sectors and how they relate to one another, and they're not in a silo. So I was impressed by that. And the fact that they looked at data. Now data in territories is a little different than stateside because of the availability. But the fact that they realize that you don't necessarily need to be data driven, but be data informed, because a lot of times the data isn't there. And even if it is there, you need to make sure that you're looking at how it was collected and how it is relevant to the work that you're doing. And the third thing was that any of the recommendations or work that they're looking at, they wanted to make sure was locally driven, was championed locally, that this wasn't just a set of recommendations that they would pass on to the territory. So I was impressed by that. But with that, the challenge with a lot of communities is then determining how can you build the capacity to support some of these initiatives. So it was interesting doing that last week with the students, and just really impressed, especially now that we saw, for anybody who's in the economic development world, that the U.S. Economic Development Administration announced that for the Build Back Better ARPA funding challenge that was due a couple weeks ago, they received over 500 regional applications for 50 to 60 strategic planning awards. So they have their work cut out for them. But I looked through the list and I just thought it was really great. You can look at my last video about how I think USEA got a gold star just by making, allowing and embracing regional planning and having different people come to the table and work together on this. So just want to talk about resilience planning. It's easier said than done, but it's capacity, locally driven. You need to find those champions. It's cross-sector. And when I say cross-sector, I don't just mean housing and transportation, but also intergovernmental. So county, regional councils of government, how even state lines. And then of course data. Make sure that you're not necessarily data driven, but data informed, because it's only as good as how relevant that data is, and does that data relate back to what you're doing. So feel free to reach out to me, and I will look forward to seeing you guys too soon. Thanks.